wherever and whenever in the world you're watching this, either live or recorded. I am so excited to have Tasha Hammond with me today. So excited. We were just in the green room talking, and I had all kinds of goosebumps. And she is just like the perfect guest for this show. I wanted to have a show. I have two LinkedIn lives. And so I have like this business persona, and then I have this other very, very spiritual persona. And in today's world, it's some people get really offended by the word God. And so I called my show Stories of Serendipity and Synchronicity, and with the intention that that's like God is synchronicity. And I have had the most amazing guests on today, and I've just always been fascinated by the awe and wonder of life, and how things happen that you could never in a million years, if you had planned it, it wouldn't have worked out like that. And so so excited to see Tasha here, and we already have Dee Riley with us. Can I come on the show too? Yes, you can. Do you mean right at this moment or at some time in the future? But I am going to let Tasha introduce herself, and we'll see where the conversation goes. It's important for all of you to know that we're big Hamilton fans, and so we might break out in song. We don't want to miss our shot. I'm not going to throw away my shot. Then another part that I really loved of Hamilton is, who lives, who dies, who tells your story. Who tells your story? It gives me goosebumps. Okay, Tasha, take it over.
Ooh, okay, well, if we literally had somebody to pump in some music here, Joan and I could probably both do the entire soundtrack to Hamilton. I am Tasha Hammond. I am a woman who woke up somewhere about 2014, 2015 to realize, Joan, that I had a ton of influence to share in a number of different areas. I woke up to learning more about my history, my family's history, my people's history, my business's history, my business's future. And I woke up to really start enjoying just culture in general, right down to Broadway and performing arts and things like that. And Joan, Joan, you are not underestimating it when you say Hamilton. I am there with you. My shot. That's my anthem, honestly. I remember, Joan, and I could go a number of different places with my introduction, but I'd like to go here. I own an incredible marketing and media company called Ascent Small Business Promotion, LLC. We're based in Metro Detroit. I've owned it for 6 years. I founded it and started it, watched it grow, and it's been my baby. It's now maturing. It's in elementary school now. It's growing up. And I remember early on, I had a mentor from SCORE, SCORE through the Small Business Administration. This mentor is a good 25 years older than me, at least. And he told me, Tasha, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so he was telling me that actually about. Say it again.
When my son was little, it's the quote I had. When I know that quote, it says Michael Jordan. I got him this quote when he was little with the basketball hoop and the ball down here. And it said, you'll miss 100% of the shots you never take. And it said it was from Michael Jordan. I don't know if that's true. Continue.
Well, it could be anybody. It was so apropos when it was told to me, because I was battling with, am I going to market my business on Facebook or not? Things that are really little to some entrepreneurs or business owners or individuals are major to other people. For me, Facebook and wanting to put myself out on Facebook was a major hurdle that I needed to cross. And it took somebody that I knew, like, and respected, who had done some things that I was trying to do, to convince me, you're going to miss your shot if you don't get out there and tell people that you have a business and what your business does for people. And so I have spent a life just really trying to be a student a listener, an observer, a good witness, somebody who can then take all that great information, bundle it up, and share it, package it, share it with other people who need it, just like I needed it. So I will say I am a very happy wife. We have a saying in our household: happy spouse, happy house.
Okay.
That way we're both satisfied, right? Because marriage is not a one-way street. So kudos to my husband, Ken, who is um, the better part of me. We have 5 children. We have grandbabies. I'm blessed to have my parents and to have the love of a really humongous village and the support of a group of people known as the Global Pep Squad. They call me the small business cheerleader.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, Jesus.
Whew, that's amazing. Not many people can say that in today's world, that they have the support of their mother and father and a spouse that they love and kids and grandkids. I just had my first grandbaby. My grandbaby is 8 months old. And people, I don't have my phone here, but especially one friend, Marcella, she would always go, wait till you get one of these, when she was showing me her pictures. And I was like, whatever. And now I just live and breathe by this kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Oh, Joan, you ain't lying. I thought that I did a great job as a mother. And it's still going. It's still ongoing. Our oldest daughter will be 33 next month. Our youngest is going to be 18 next month. And you're always a parent, right? But you just have different levels of influence or things to do. Being a grandparent, though, is like A plus, cloud 19. My grandchildren are some of the most beautiful human beings in the world. They're beautiful. They're good people, and their parents are good people too. They're just good little people, and it's so nice to just see your legacy, your generations, like play out in front of you. It's beautiful.
And I find it emotional to see this little boy that hasn't been, I don't know, like affected or yet, so he hasn't had bullying yet. He hasn't had a F in a test or something yet.
Yeah.
And so you said a bunch of stuff when we were in the green room.
Yes, I did.
And I wrote down some stuff. And whenever you see me put my head down, it's because I am writing something down. And Mary is here to say hello to everyone.
Mary Wells. Can I just say who Mary Wells is?
Please.
If people do not yet know the name Mary Wells, Mary Wells is synonymous with encouragement and success. So she is a friend, a sister in the Lord. She is a business owner. She's an author. She's the captain of the Global Pep Squad, the crew from around the world who watches my show, Pep Talk Live with Tasha Hammond. Mary is an amazing mother and just a dear. She's so much more than I can say in this spotlight. But whenever I have a chance to mention a name in a room, it's often going to be Mary Wells. She has done for me what no one else would have been able to do for me in the community that I've worked so hard to build. Love her to life. Love her to life.
Oh my gosh. And of course she's responding, cheering you on. And what a gift that is. And that's serendipity and synchronicity in the haystack called the world, to find like a friend, like a friend that's a soulmate.
Yeah. And I don't even know, Mary, maybe you could help us here. Mary is one of those women I just feel like I've known for my life. And I'm pretty sure we haven't known each other our whole lives. But the last few years of my life have really been tied up in my entrepreneurship journey, building networks across social platforms, bringing those networks to real life. And I don't know when Mary came into my circle, when the Lord brought me into her circle. It just feels like it's always been. And
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it will be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say hi to her and to Anthony Reed, who are watching, and to the others who are watching that I hope to meet if we don't already know each other.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what I wrote down was, I can't outrun my truth, you said before we went live. And I just think that is so profound. I can't outrun my truth.
Yeah. Yeah. You ready for me to go there, Joan?
Um, you can go wherever you want to with that expression. I have other things I wrote down. You
Yeah.
know, you're in charge.
All right. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, what I meant by, for the background, when I was explaining I can't outrun my truth to Joan, I was talking about my childhood and my adolescent years, those formative years when you want the very best for your if you're the parent, you want the very best for your child, for your young person, the person you're trying to raise to maturity. You want to keep them protected from all hurt, harm, and danger, and things of that nature. Well, some things that people don't know about me is that I was raised in an incredibly abusive household. And it was not at the hands of my father. I'm just going to say, my father, his name is Robert Hill. He is still here among us. And had my father been in our home, I'm pretty sure these things wouldn't have happened. I'm also pretty sure things happen for a reason. So I was telling Joan, I cannot go back and change the things that happened when I was 2 or 7 or 9 or 15. And most people probably wouldn't even believe some of the torturous experiences. I can say that with a laugh and a smile now. I wasn't laughing back then. Some of the experiences that my sister and my mother and I endured, particularly my mother, who, now that I'm a mother, now that I'm an adult, I realized, Joan, a couple things. She did the absolute best that she could. She could not have done any better under the circumstances she was given. I held that against her for a very long time till I became a mother and realized, oh, this is hard. Even if you have money, this is hard. Even if you have help, this is hard. Even if you have a supportive parent with you, this is hard. It's hard. And then when you have two girls, oh, this is extra hard. And then when you have two girls that are polar opposites, it's really hard. And then when you throw in there a man who professes to love you and love your children, you allow him into your home, into your space. He becomes a part of your life and the fabric of your being. And then he turns on you and he just invites a whole bunch of foolishness and abuse and things you don't want to be a part of and things you definitely don't want your children to experience. Well, I was telling Joan that it makes no sense for me to run away from that truth. I am not ashamed that I grew up in an abusive household. I I wish it didn't have to be that way. I wish that wasn't part of my story, but I'm here to tell you that it's part of my story. It's not the whole story. So there are tons of, many other parts of the story, many other moving pieces. But I will tell you what came out of living with a man who told the world he was my father or my father figure, who I told the world that as well, and he was that. Living with a man who tried to steal your innocence every chance he got and your sisters and put you in situations where others would do the same. I don't harbor any hatred in my heart today behind that, Joan. I was telling Joan earlier that my stepdad's name is David. And for like 20 years after he separated from our family, I couldn't be around people named David. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to overcome that. And then realize at some point it was truly, this is faith-based. This is, Christ intervening, me coming to realize not every David is going to abuse you or your mother or your sister. You cannot put that blanket across every person by that name. That was that one individual who hurt you. Not everybody else is going to hurt you. And you're the wiser now to see things coming and to avoid certain situations. But Joan, I used to not tell people this story, but now I understand that people overcome when you share your truth with them. So I'm on a mission to share my truth. And it's not just limited to that story. With all that tragedy, Joan, that came out of adolescence and childhood and teenage years and foolishness, there's a whole bunch of triumph on the backside of that. So I can wear this smile and share my truth.
Well, that is just amazing, and I just get goosebumps even hearing it for the second time. And there was another man that appeared out of nowhere in a really crucial time, and basically saved you, like, and that intervention, synchronicity, godsend, then changed the trajectory of your life.
Yes, he did. Okay. So, I like to ask people one question really as I'm getting to know them, like icebreaker stuff. And it's typically Marvel or DC Comics. I need to know which side of the aisle your superhero is on. I need to know because I am totally Marvel universe. Captain America is my jam. And I had a real life Captain America before Marvel started putting that into the movies that we know today. Of course, it was out in comic books, but my stepfather, when I was 15 years old, Joan, he kidnapped me from our home. My mother had broke the camel's back the night before. She put him out. It was torture putting him out. It was a massive event putting him out, but she put him out. He came back the next day. I was the only one home, and he was coming for blood. Now, I had been in this car of his many times before. On this particular occasion, I did not want to go with him. He violently drug me out of our home. He kidnapped me, his own stepchild. He kidnapped me. And this wasn't like Tisha get in the car. This is like grab you by places you're not supposed to grab people, through the house, slam me into his car. And I tell this story. I tell the full story in a YouTube video through the Secret Society for Twisted Storytellers. You can find it on YouTube. Strangely enough, Joan, he takes me to a place called the Peace River, Peace. What he's planning to do to me is not peaceful. Is not peaceful by any means. I am 15. He is a grown man. And he's decided he is going to seek revenge against my mother, against me. This was not the first time my stepdad and I had done this. I grew up fighting. And you wouldn't know that today because I'm a very peaceful person. I don't want to fight people. I don't want to fight. I've had those years. That kind of stuff is behind me unless it's absolutely necessary. And this day I was so paralyzed in fear that this was the day he was actually going to kill me. He drove me to the Peace River. We had like fished there before. It's Florida, so we like go crabbing there before during the better times we had. But he took me to this river, and I just knew I was going to be floating in there dead. I knew it, Joan. I knew it. And we go through this series of things at the river's edge, and it ultimately comes to the point where he pushes me down on the ground. I had known he was a violent man. He carried guns. I had known he had a gun with him because he showed it to me in the house earlier. And he pushes me down on the ground. Like my hands catch my fall. I have some time to look up. He's over to my right. I have some time to look up and watch him take this gun out of his waistband. And Joan, I prayed like this Hollywood style prayer, like you see in a movie, like you hear about. Like this is unbelievable for people to believe, probably. But I prayed this prayer, and I said, like, Father, if you save my life, I promise to serve you. Jesus, if you save me right now, I promise to serve you. You can have my life. You take my life. Please don't let this man take my life. And Joan, we were in the countryside. We had no phone because David burned the house phone. We had no neighbors that we knew because he wouldn't allow us to have relationships in the community. And plus, it's the country. Your neighbors aren't right there on top of you. There was no one who knew that he was kidnapping me because it happened inside of our home, inside of our garage. I was frozen in fear in the back seat, so it wasn't like I was banging on the windows, begging for anybody to see me, to help me. I was frozen. I said, Lord, if you save my life, I promise to serve you. And Joan, I immediately, not a minute later, not 2 minutes later, I immediately heard a siren. And it's the country, so this is not police coming. There's not a police force. These are sheriffs. These are county sheriffs, and there aren't a lot of them. And they got a big county to patrol. I heard a siren. I could breathe a breath of fresh air. My stepdad put his gun away. He ran to his car and he drove away. And that sheriff's car came straight to me. And it was a man that I had known because he'd been in my house too many times before, but he didn't know that David had kidnapped me. Nobody had called him. This is what I'm saying. The power of prayer is incredible. Don't discount asking for help, especially if your life is on the line. I am a testament to strange things happen, to miracles happening. I should not be here, Joan. I should have died at 15 years old, 30 years ago. I should be dead. But because I'm not, I know that I can't keep that a secret. I know that Sheriff Hobbs became my hero. If he wasn't my hero before, he was my Captain America that day. And yes, him being the one to rescue me, being the vessel that God used to take me out of harm's way, solidified for me that I was going to experience a career in law enforcement. And I did that. A 21-year career in law enforcement, 10 of them in uniform, because I wanted to be someone's hero, Joan. I believe in heroes. I totally believe in heroes. We can be that every day. You don't have to have on a uniform. You don't have to carry a badge or a gun. Tell somebody you love them. Tell somebody you recognize they're in pain. Tell somebody you're here to help. And that's what I did after this wonderful career in law enforcement. I'm still about helping people and still about sharing good news. And I do that with my team through business nowadays.
Wow.
Jesus. Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to move on because it just feels like we need to have like a pause or a prayer or something, you know, just gratitude for you sharing that. And my mind works differently than most people. So now, and I'm getting goosebumps as I tell you this, you found peace at the Peace River.
Thank you.
Like, come on. Like, I don't even know, like, I can't comprehend this. Like, yeah. it was like, oh my God, the Peace River. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then within minutes, it had to be minutes, seconds, I don't know how long, before you put the gun on your head. And then Hobbs is there.
Moments, like unreal. This could only happen through the power of prayer. And yeah, if you want to stop and pray, I'm always down for that. But that's the truth. I was going to die at the Peace River. At least that's what David was preparing for me. But that wasn't the reality. The reality was that that moment ended a tragedy in my life, and I had a new sense of peace. I had hope after that. And y'all, I never saw David again. My family never saw him again. I don't have a clue what happened to him. I pray for his soul. um, I pray for his soul. And that is the kindest thing that I could say. And I should probably leave it there, because of course I still feel some pain, and I still feel some kind of way that someone will want to hurt a child. But let me tell you, I'm a child of the Most High God. He couldn't have hurt me that day. He could not have, but I didn't know that. I'm older now. I'm wiser now. And I understand that when you pray, believe it. If you're going to pray, believe the thing you're praying for.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do that, believe the thing. And so, yeah, Joan, I have peace.
Mm-hmm.
I can smile. I can hug my mother and thank God that David didn't try to put her in the ground. He tried, but he wasn't successful. I have peace. And no matter what that part of my story is or was, that's not where I am today. I've gone a million places since then, and brought a million people with me. And I'm not done traveling. I'm not done telling other stories that are going to impact and benefit other people in their life and where they are in that moment.
Mm-hmm. When we were in the green room, I called him, and I still have a hard time saying his name, but I called him the man whose name shall not be mentioned, because I just thought, that's just an old, probably Irish thing. Your name is stricken from all records and will never be spoken again. And Tisha's like, no, I can speak his name today. And that we all have such obstacles, and the healing that you brought by him fleeing, which cowards do, right? They flee.
Yes.
And that moment immediately brought peace to your family, because and to the generations to come.
Yeah.
And
really what was happening also there, just breaking the cycle of violence against women. Being in that household taught me immediately, no one will put their hands on me. No, don't, please don't. Because you shouldn't. If you cannot resolve an issue in your relationship through communication, and it has to lead by one party or the other placing their hands on someone to hurt them, it's not a healthy relationship. It's not a healthy relationship. And after I left, after that Riverside incident, I left my mother's home shortly thereafter, and really understood what it meant to be raised by a village, because I began to be raised by people who were not in my bloodline, who didn't have to care 2 cents about me, but brought me into their home and nurtured me the best way they knew how. And so I got to say, my mom allowed me to go to church. She allowed my sister and I to go to church when we were little. She was okay with us knowing the name of Jesus and God. She made sure we sung on choirs and we went to Sunday school and things like that. Thank God that she did that, or I might have not known who to call on at that river's edge. When I left my mother's home, I began to know Jesus Christ for myself, because I was placed in the home of a minister who was I say Jesus freak. You think I'm a Hamilton freak? That's how this next household was for me. We were Jesus freaks, and it was beautiful. I needed that. I needed to know there was peace and security and safety and things that I just had to trust in, that I just had to hope for, even if I couldn't see them, because I had known that I was saved. Like my life was literally saved that day at that river's edge. It all worked out the way that it was supposed to, tragedy or not. I lived, Joan. And because I lived, there must have been a purpose, right? Because I wasn't taken in that moment, there must have been a purpose. And I spent many years trying to search for what the heck that was. What the heck is my purpose? What am I supposed to do from here? And that what am I supposed to do has changed over the course of, the 30 years that have passed. And I like where I'm at right now. And I'm totally okay with being uprooted and put somewhere else on a moment's notice if my purpose and mission change. It's okay with me.
Hmm. Hmm. Deep, deep faith. Yeah. Deep faith. Wow. Um, yeah, because I imagine there had to be a lot of healing that went on with a 15-year-old girl who was, you know, was dancing with the devil and close to death. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, the initial healing was coming to Christ, giving my life to Jesus Christ, just like I pledged to do. I really followed through on that when I was 15 years old.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember, so around that time, I'm in 10th, going into 11th grade, and I'm watching, and I'm living in New York City now, and I'm watching all kind of marvelous and wonderful and foolish things happen in front of me, and my friends are doing all kind of manner of things, in addition to being academic scholars, by the way. Still encouraged to be a very bright, intelligent young woman, but now I'm in New York City. I'm not in the country anymore. And now I have access to a lot of things I can get my hands on and do if I really wanted to. And I thank God that He spared me from, trouble, from being in situations I didn't need to be in. And believe me, when you live in New York City and you're 15 and 16, things happen, even if you're a good person. And I went through my share of things happening in New York City, but God covered me. He covered me and He protected me. And I was able to make it home every day safe at night after work and from school and all those things. But I'm just saying that I'm prayerful. Yes, my faith is deep. My first therapy was coming to Christ. And then when I got older, I realized, oh, I need some professional help.
Hmm.
I need some professional. There's some stuff going on here. I can't get past my own head. I can't get it out of my system on my own. What I'm doing is not helping. Yes, I'm praying, um, but it's still coming to my memory. And it's not that I want to forget things. I just wanted to learn how to heal and move beyond it. And yes, I found a way to do that through the scripture. And I also found a way to do that through seeking professional counseling.
Hmm.
I think it did marvelous things for my outlook.
Hmm.
Marvelous.
I think that's a really good thing to say to people that are believers and for people that, um, I don't need counseling. All the answers are in the Bible. All I need to do is go to church, or all I need to do is pray. And I think it's really strong of you to say, and I needed outside help.
Yeah.
I needed some more than what I was getting.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, if you're listening, there's no shame to go to a counselor and to get someone a completely outside opinion,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you went to New York to go to school?
I did. I finished high school in New York City, Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics. Woo woo. I
Wow.
did. And you know what? I went without my mother, and she followed me. And so she ended up in New York City. And we did not live together, but we were close enough where she could keep an eye on me and I could keep an eye on her. And now we live together. My mom has lived with Ken and I for, oh my God, I don't even know how many. I'm going to say at 2009, we brought her to Michigan. It's been a long time. Um, and I wouldn't want it any other way. But Joan, that took therapy too. That didn't come easy for me.
Hmm.
I was holding on to, you could have done way better than you did. I was holding on. And
Mm-hmm.
at some point, all my holding on was doing was hurting my mother. And all I could say at the end of the day was, "You did not kill me." I lived, and it's almost like a running joke. I didn't die. So
Mm-hmm.
now, even in our household, if something happens to one of the kids, I don't mean to make light of this. This is a point of saying that life dishes out things to you that you survived through. And I'll say stuff like, "Did you die?" No, you didn't die, because we're having this conversation here. You lived through it. You made it through that episode or through that experience. You got stronger because of it. You grew wiser because of it. You have knowledge now that you can share with somebody else because of that thing. And that I had to learn through therapy.
Mm-hmm. I just want to push back on one thing that you said, and of course you can tell me if I'm overstepping a line, but when you said that the only person that was hurting was your mother, I have to disagree. That it was hurting you also, and your soul and your essence, that the God, I knew you in the womb kind of thing, like who you were as a person.
I can't deny that. I can't deny that. I didn't want to keep shining the light on me. But certainly, if I was talking about it, it was on my mind, and I still cared about it. And yeah, when I gave that perspective up, it did wonders for me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it did wonders for my relationship between my mother and I. And what I hope it really did was show my children that one day I will expect them to care for my husband, Ken, and I.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to show them we're here to care for my mom. If Ken's mother were here, we would be caring for her right now, too. This is a cycle, and we're family. And you don't get to choose family. Family is gifted to you in all of our dysfunction and
Mm-hmm.
wildness and wonderfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Family is a gift. And the great thing about family is you can add people to it who don't have to be related by blood, and you get this bigger extended family or blended family. The point is, we have to care for one another. This street will eat you alive. This world will eat you alive. If there's not somebody you can come home to, not necessarily physically in your home, but in your circle, in your space, in between that area that you think is safe in this world that is not safe, if you don't have that, I'd love to pray for the person who feels they don't have that safety with relationships, because that's what keeps carrying you through. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's one of the things that keep carrying you through. So today I can laugh and joke with my mom, and when she has a different memory of the past than I do,
Oh, sure,
there's no
sure,
reason for me to. I used to get mad,
sure,
remember
sure.
things. But sometimes people pray for different things. She prayed to forget the past. She literally told me, "Tisha, I prayed to forget those things," which means she forgot my wedding. She forgot the birth of some really significant moments in our family's life. Um, but she prayed for healing here, and she has that. My mom she's done she's she's done well coming out of more than one abusive relationship. But I pray for her too, because she still says, "Tisha, I've never been in love," and I'd be like, "Dang, that's horrible. You
Mm-hmm.
got to let yourself love somebody."
Mm-hmm.
It must be very hard to let yourself love somebody when people say they love you, but they just hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
I still
Mm-hmm.
pray for my mom to find love, and try to get her out the house so that she can meet people who she can love. We're working on
Hey, can you pray for me to find love, because
it.
I'm
Yeah.
single and I would like to be with someone. Um,
Yes, I can.
let's see. I want to go to the comments a little bit. Both you and your mom, survivors through who thrive,
Yeah.
and it's reminding me of, like, if anyone's listening, and we always compare each other's stories. And so there's a thing that I like to say with my clients is like death by a thousand cuts. So some people are so broken, but it's in a completely different way. of what you're talking about, that space between safety, like who's here to help me when I need it. Let's say people have written, again, Mary wrote, good things for the good. God works all things together for the good. This may be my friend Raina, who for some reason it always says LinkedIn user. Purpose-driven passion. That reminds me of the Purpose-Driven Life book that was so popular. And then again, someone else encouraging external help is just
nothing to be ashamed of.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah. No. Let's see. Let's see what this says. Tasha Hammond at the marginal line of safety and not so safe place. Yeah.
It's a real place.
And then Kenny is here, and he says such a beautiful story of thrival.
I like that word.
Me too. It was like,
this is new to me. I like that word.
Me too. Me too.
Hashtag that. I don't have. Is that a real word? Have you trademarked that? That is awesome. That's a wonderful word.
Okay, Bruce is the LinkedIn user.
Now, which Bruce?
I know. I don't know. I know a few Bruces
Tell us your
myself,
whole name, Bruce. If it's the Bruce I know, then okay. Well, look. Why does LinkedIn do this? Why does LinkedIn make us guess who the LinkedIn user is?
I don't know. And my friend is like, I don't know why it does that to me. Oh, Kenny says it's trademarked.
I need to know more about this word, thrival. I need more. I wonder if that's Bruce Carnahan, the guy in the blue shirt.
Oh, okay. That's
my buddy right there.
He was giving us a clue. Blue.
Yes. Please check him out. Process improvement.
Yes, and Bruce, I like your new picture. That you're
like the race car shirt.
Yeah, or race car or a bike, something. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Can you believe we're 45 minutes into our discussion, which is amazing. And I wrote down some other things that you talked about. I'm wondering how many people know about SCORE. And you said you had a mentor from SCORE. And I think it would be good to just talk about that a little bit, because my understanding is that it's totally free.
Absolutely.
Absolutely free.
So SCORE is a function of the Small Business Administration. This is where you can find no-cost mentoring. So particularly for individuals in entrepreneurship, definitely for business owners, you might find consultants and coaches at some point getting a little perturbed at you wanting to pick their brain because their expertise has a value to it, right? SCORE is where you can pick the heck out of somebody's brain, from retired, very experienced individuals in all manner of industries that you can imagine, from manufacturing, industrial, automotive, marketing, social media, finances. Thank you for putting the link in there. So I needed a mentor in marketing. Now, mind you, I am a media and marketing company, but I don't know what I don't know. Why not learn from an expert, who's been doing this for decades, longer than I have? So we went into this just marathon of mentoring, no cost. My mentor would meet me at our local Tim Hortons, over coffee. This is pre-pandemic. He would meet me in my office. We would talk by telephone. He just was incredibly accommodating and made me feel as if I was the only mentee in his charge, whenever we spoke. And if he didn't have an answer, he was real honest about that. He was like, let me get you somebody who has the answer. But I will not forget about you miss 100% of the shots you don't You don't take, and Joan, it's not like people hadn't told me that before, but when he said it, I was like, I'll get on Facebook. I'll get on Facebook. I'll do better. I wanted to not please him. I wanted to kind of like fulfill the assignment that he was giving me.
Right. You're a good student.
Yeah, thank you. He was teaching, I was learning. I needed to complete the assignment. And you know what? Facebook is what you make it. LinkedIn is what you make it. YouTube and all those places, they're what you make it. So for me, Joan, I didn't want to attract a lot of foolishness on Facebook because, people be sliding up in your private message. I don't have time for that. I am on Facebook for business purposes. And so that's what I project. You get what you project sometimes. So thank God I haven't had the experience with Facebook that I feared I would have, that I worried that I'd have. And that's because of my mentoring part.
It's interesting because I don't do Facebook. I mean, this goes live on Facebook, but I'm just like, I just can't do it. The negativity, I can't let it in and this and that. But you're going to attract like energy, maybe. And then when you said about you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take, it reminds me of when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
That's good.
I didn't make it up. I did not make it up. It might be trademarked by Kenny though. But when you've heard it 100 times, but you haven't listened, or is it opposite? Yeah, you just, it didn't go in, and then you're like, oh, and your friends will be like, I told you that 5 years ago, but you weren't ready.
It's that light bulb moment. It's that epiphany moment where it's been there, but now 2 and 2 are 4.
Exactly.
2 and 3. 2 and 2 are actually 4 in this moment. Oh, that's what people have been trying to say. Or, oh, I should have seen that. It's looked that way that home time, but now I see it differently. When our daughter Elena was 15, she started having these light bulb moments and things that this is something that became a running joke between her and I. You could see it in her face. She put 2 and 2 together in a moment, and things that she would become like embarrassed about confessing, like, oh my God, is that what that means? And I'd be like, don't be embarrassed. I probably thought that same thing, or at least you're thinking more advanced than I was when I was 15. When I was 15, I wasn't trying to put 2 and 2 together. I was trying to just survive. I was just trying to live. Can I just live another day without craziness going on, without foolishness going on around me? But I'm so happy to see when people are curious, when they're inquisitive. It's part of an acronym that I made up. Can I share that with your people?
You might have started, and I didn't write it all down, but let's hear what it is.
Yes. So the acronym is RICH. And the acronym, I created it because somewhere in around 2014, someone told me that poor meant passing over opportunities repeatedly.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Isn't that good?
Yes.
That's not original. I heard that from someone, and I don't know who the heck to attribute it to. Somebody please drop in the comments if this is really attributed to one person in particular. When I heard that, I was like, okay, well, if that means poor, then rich must mean, y'all ready for this? Here is my acronym for rich, and then I want to share a second.
I don't know. You know what? I think it's going to be very profound, so I don't know if I'm ready, but go ahead.
It's going to be very useful, whatever, it's going to be useful. Rich. Coming from Tasha Hammond, the small business cheerleader, this is my definition of rich. Resourceful. Innovative. Curious. Hungry.
Oh.
To me, those are bankable skills that individuals should aspire to have. Right? And so the next acronym that is really prevalent in my company and in our team, I'm so thankful I'm not a one-person team anymore, Joan. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad to have a team of people who They either bring me down when I'm floating way up out of nowhere, or they push me up, and they help elevate conversations and things. The second acronym that I created is ATM. Now, for me, currency isn't always green. This is hopefully speaking to people who are, who want to be speakers, who are authors, who have things where they want to be in the media, seen in stages, on stages and in pages, as I like to say.
Mm.
ATM, probably applicable to anybody from there. Automate, talent, monetize.
Mm.
To me, if you visit that ATM every day in business or in your profession, you're going to have quite a journey towards success in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, automate, meaning, gosh, you only have so much time in a day. Can you let some technology do a lot of stuff for you, do a lot of your heavy lifting? Talent, meaning, this is what I was alluding to earlier. I used to be a one woman show in business. Okay, that sucked. It sucked. I missed having coworkers. I missed managing things, and
Definitely.
I missed,
Coaching.
yeah,
Yeah.
I missed people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I became an entrepreneur, I went out on my own and tried to do everything on my own and wear every single hat. I tried to be the janitor and the CEO. Well, that did not work well. It didn't work well at all. So you realize, if you want to grow or scale your business, your brand, your idea, it takes other people's talent.
Mm-hmm.
Automate talent. The M is monetize. If you have a skill, a craft, a talent, and you believe you should be compensated for it, well, there are plenty of ways that you can earn compensation and monetize that skill or talent.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I have a
And
series of trainings based on those acronyms.
awesome. And you said currency isn't always green.
Mm-mm.
So we could
Nope.
trade, we could barter, we could do all kinds of things.
We can promote, we can cross promote,
Mm-hmm.
we can delay the gratification. If you can't give me my marshmallow today, give me two marshmallows tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's If you just get super creative with your compensation package, you'll notice it's not always cash based. Can I give a for instance? Do we have time?
We sure do.
Okay. So just like half the people in the world, I wanted to be a world renowned speaker. I wanted everybody to know my name. When I walked into a place, I wanted Tisha Hammond to be on marquees and shining
Mm-hmm.
lights and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't charging nothing for any message that I was given, for a million reasons. Maybe because I was new at this and I didn't think that my message had a real value. Maybe because I didn't know how to come out and say, I would like you to pay me for this particular time that I'm giving you in this message. It was a combination of a whole lot of things. And I remember the first time I wrote I remember the first time I wrote a contract, Joan. I was I was just like, I've been told no before, and I didn't die. See, all this I didn't die. It plays forward in my life. I've been told no before. The worst hasn't happened to me yet. Let me just see what will happen if I start putting stuff in contracts. And I begin to write contracts that include entertainment that I want when I land on the ground from my flight. I begin to put in I've said in my contracts, if I'm in a city and I don't know anybody, I would like a driver to accompany me throughout the day so I can have someone to conversate with who will introduce me to other people. It makes no sense for me to touch ground in a new place and be held up in a hotel room until an event. I want to know the whole city. I begin to ask for golf because things happen on golf courses. Now, whether my golf game is strong or not, you have to hire me and find out. Take me golfing. You'll find out then, right? I begin to ask for entertainment. These things have a cash value to the person giving them to me. but they're building relationship for me, right? I ask for entertainment. I love race cars. Bruce Carnahan knows I love race cars. I wanted to go to racetracks, and I love ice cream. I want to go to an ice cream shack that's 35 miles out of town that I found on the internet. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I asked for all of these things. I'm not exaggerating in any one of those instances. And the answer was yes to every one of them, in addition to compensation for speaking. So I've had some real fun sharing these stories and the things that come along with that. And yeah, I could have easily asked for the money that it costs for the ice cream, or for the person to take me out driving, or for the chauffeurs and all that stuff. But I didn't. I wanted time. I wanted to build relationships with people in those new cities that I wasn't familiar with. And that is priceless to me. People, not paychecks. People, not paychecks.
I am so happy we talked about that. That's amazing. So this is my price for speaking.
Yeah.
And all these other things you're asking for, that's in addition, but there's no money discussed.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
And I appreciate the people who say yes to me, because they could easily say no, but they find value in something. And can I just give one more insight into people, for people, especially entrepreneurs, because Joan, that's where my heart is. For individuals who are kind of hesitant to tell people that you expect payment for your services or your products, I encourage you to do this. When you've had a conversation with someone 2 or 3 times, by this time they know you're in business, they know you have a service or a product or an ask. They're asking questions about it. And you get to that point in the conversation where they ask you, how much does that cost? Or what's your price? Or what's the fee? How much can I expect to pay? Please do this one thing for yourself, and then let me know how it works. When you get to that point in the conversation and someone asks you to tell them what your price is, no fooling around, say your price and then shut up. And I don't like to say the words shut up to human beings. But I mean that in that instance, say your price and close your lips. Stop talking yourself out of your business. I got this from Mimi Brown, who's a world-class speaker here out in the Metro Detroit area. She told me that, and because she said it, I listened to it. Something about Mimi Brown I needed to hear from her. When she said it, I listened. And I had an opportunity the very next day to listen for my value in someone else's silence or in their response. I had a prospect customer call me the very next morning. We get to the part of the conversation. She says, all right, how much does that cost? Said the price and I shut up. It was the hardest thing. In fact, I put the phone on mute because I talk. I put the phone on mute and I just listened. And she was so excited to go with the top priced package. When she said, yes, let's do it, I thanked her. And I said, I'll get you an invoice real quick. And I hung up the phone very quickly before I talked myself out of that. And I hung up and I screamed and I shouted and I happy danced. And I did everything I could get out of my system, all of that energy. And I typed up that invoice just like I said I would. I sent it to her. She paid it right away. And I was like, could I have been doing this for 5 years already? I'm a talker, so I know I can say I talk too much sometimes. Just pause and wait and listen for your value in people's response. You'll know if that's your customer or not, if that's your client or not.
Well, I think that's a great way to end our conversation because it brings us back to Hamilton.
Oh, come on.
When Burr says, can I give you some advice? Talk less.
Less. Smile more.
Exactly. So I'm happy to talk with you some more. I don't want to infringe on any more of your time on Sunday. Tell everyone how they can get a hold of you. Mary is saying, before we go, Mary's saying, nonprofit has asked how they can support me for my time to assist them.
Yeah. Mary, look, I love you, Mary Wells. You do so much for your community. Nonprofits have line items and budgets set aside for support and assistance. Just because they're nonprofit, it doesn't mean they're in the poorhouse. If they've asked you how they can support and assist you, it sounds like to me they might be offering to compensate you for your services. We can talk offline if you like, but pray, because I know you're a praying woman. Ask the Lord, what does this compensation package look like?
Mm-hmm.
I know He'll give you the answer.
Yeah, and there is a book called, I think it's called The Prosperous Coach. Have you read that?
No, but I love the title.
And he says, walk around your house having this conversation. It's $10,000. It's $3,000. So that it just becomes, when someone asks you, you just go, it's $10,000, whatever. You get used to saying it. And there's other tidbits in there, but yeah, Mary, definitely reach out. Let me give you that link. And there's all kinds of stuff out there that people can help you get, even role play and practice it. This is probably not a good link, but that's onto Amazon because we're running. Okay, so you've had a lot of people here. People here supporting you today and saying really nice things. And how can anybody who is not connected with you, how can we get a hold of you?
All right. Well, my contact information is in this book. This is my best-selling book, international best-selling book, Daily Devotional for Entrepreneurs, Your Season to Grow. Please note that the foreword was written by my mentor, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. And if you'll notice here on the back, you can contact me at my website, tishahammond.com. Try to make it easy for everybody, right? You can also purchase the book there.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I have been so inspired by your story, and we'll keep it up with serendipity and synchronicity. And you're welcome to come back. And someone in the very, very beginning wanted to come on. Dee, just reach out to me and I'll get you on here. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And you and I are going to go back into the green room.
All right.
Okay. Have a great day. Have a blessed day. Be kind to each other.